Okay, I'm Bruce Cousins. I'm an architect with some years of experience. And the last 10 years I've been doing more lean project consulting, not consulting, but internally within Turner Construction and some others. So
I'm Ralph Modric. I'm with Web Core Builders in California, and I'm working for a general contractor.
Yeah. So we want to start a little bit differently than everyone else. We're going to ask our questions first, try to get you to answer some questions first.
So this is not a push presentation, we do a pull presentation.
We're going to do a pull presentation. So everyone's happy. We have our scribe who's helping us right now. So one of the things that we're talking a lot about is this idea of design, of managing, design management in the early portions, pre-construction of the project, and the interface between design and designers and the construction team. And so what we wanted to first do is kind of get an idea of who's in the room. So how many architects, real architects, have been real buildings, not research architects? Okay, so we have about 6, 8 people. Okay, how many contractors have working or can be researchers? Yeah, so we have about 2/3. And then how many pure academics? Okay, 5, 7, 10, 20. Okay, so everyone probably has a different idea about what's happening with our processes in general, and we know that this is a very difficult side of our processes and not always very successful. And so one of the things we'd like to do, if we could, is just write down a few ideas of why we think it's not successful. So maybe if you could volunteer. I know we have some prizes, but oh, there it is. Come on, Cynthia. Yeah, here we go. We got one right away.
Why design is hard to manage?
Yes, why is it not very successful? By the way it's done now, in general.
First off, the persons involved in developing the design want to protect.
Is that an architect? Is that an architect?
The sauce of them developing and thinking.
Okay.
So when we ask them to work with us to be more explicit and clear about what's going on behind the curtain, they're very concerned about that. What are you trying to take advantage of?
Okay, so they're protecting their information. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. 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 Correct. Oh, who's that? Lori. Right. Yeah, so the program is unclear. It's incomplete. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah. It's pretty. I'm sorry.
Owners.
Owners.
Yes.
I love
yes.
owners. So complexity and communication. Right. Well, owners seem to always want to change anyway. They're the ones. They're the biggest problem. No. Yes, sir. Okay. And yes, and we're going to talk now. I think we're going to try to talk to some of these issues. So thank you for that.
One last one.
One last one.
Quick.
Can you summarize?
There's not a continuous flow between design and production.
Right. So first, design is non-sequential. We all know this. And early on in my career, I read a paper by Karl Popper about clocks and clouds. So in terms of culture, what happens is we have architects who are sort of in the clouds, and as Lori pointed out the other day, solving oftentimes wicked problems. And on the other side, the construction side basically is much more rational, much more organized, and sequential, period. So with that being said, there are challenges that are just built into the culture. Now, the other side of that is that people try to use a 100-year-old management system that was created in the 1900s to manage war and other things in a very sequential way. And as most people agree, it's relatively quick to be undone. A few changes here, a few changes there, and all of a sudden your 8,000-line CPM goes sideways, right? So we have a few tools that we constantly look forward to, and of course, in the larger scale projects, the P6 is actually a requirement. So what we're trying to do then, I think by understanding those kinds of things in the traditional world, is we've been using, and we feel that the last planner approach in the design phase is also a powerful idea, but also not necessarily appropriate all the time for the design phase. And we think that's true because of these ideas. Work, again, is iterative. Work stacks up. There's decisions all over the place. It's non-sequential. And last planner does have a lot of value in terms of the team communicating value and so on. So one of the things we've done is we've looked at other industries where this is a very similar problem, of course, and so Agile and Scrum, used in the software industry, has faced a very similar challenge to the design industry. And so what we try to do is utilize, we've been taking that idea, and as you see in a few minutes, we'll go over those ideas.
So yeah, what we also saw that there's a total difference in culture, and there are different tribes between the designers and the builders.
So for anybody that went to architecture school, these are your heroes.
And we heard that like it's non-sequential, it's iterative, the design, and on the builder side, it's very linear. So what we also found is that the conditions of satisfaction of the deliverables and handoffs are not well defined in the traditional way with SD, DD, and CD, at least in the US. And so we have to find a way to improve those handoffs. So we looked at other industries, what Bruce said, and we looked at the software industry where the design development processes are similar. They're non-sequential and iterative. And one of the pioneers applying Kanban and Agile ideas in the software industry was David Anderson, and he wrote this book. So we looked at how they do this, and we also thought like the integration of last planner system with Agile and a Kanban approach is like a synergy in a very successful approach. So beside that, we also looked at what would be the right framework to basically improve those handoffs. So what in our approach, we looked at the LOD specifications. So it's very clear in the LOD specifications by systems what level of development of the model looks per system in specific. So we applied those LOD thinking on a matrix, what normally happens, and we have like systems in the horizontal, in the vertical, and then we have basically the time frame on the horizontal.
So one quick idea here. This is a division, a schedule based on LOD versus based on schematic and so on and so forth. And the important thing is to be able to develop here our schedule and our supply chain for the variety of issues that are related so that everybody understands the content of the process, okay? And so the Agile and the Scrum approach to this work gives us that speed and that deliverable capability. And so this is just a kind of a simple idea, but the important idea here is to look at this idea of TVD clusters in the sense that that's a much more important way to define versus the old way of silos of mechanical, electrical, etc. We want everyone communicating from day one in the design process. And so that's what we did. And we basically worked towards, and I'm going to jump through a few slides because they're telling me to. Whoops, where's the next slide? Oh, we have more slides. Oh, there we go. Okay. So just one quick piece here. There are metrics based on the Kanban side. So the standard metrics you probably all know are PPC and open constraints, variance charts, etc. But the metrics that we can achieve within the Kanban are also very important in terms of maintaining flow, increasing throughput, and also, as you see here in the bottom, just day-to-day management. So we did case studies. We did one with a big company doing a rack where we used the Kanban, digital Kanban cards. The second one we did.
And the second one was with our architectural company. And then the last one was I did pole planning based on the LOD. Then we broke this out in a master schedule. And then we used this for the 3D coordination where we could bring this data in from our 3D coordination software and then display it in a Kanban card, and then they could use this as basically a daily planning.
Yeah. And so this is the outcomes. And so since we asked our questions